Right, it feels good to know you're watching and starting your brand new day and brand new week with us in the rest of Africa and the continent on your #1 channel for top stories and reports. This is Breakfast Central. Good morning. My name is Olisa Chukuma.
Caro. Now that is a good way of saying good morning in this western part of Nigeria. Now my name is Oluchi Inobong.
All right, good morning, Africa. Let's get you updated with the latest news on Breakfast Central with a look at the headlines.
All right, we're talking about Congo president who names his son among the new government.
Right, in Zimbabwe, court rules Chief Justice's tenure extension is invalid.
Unknown gunmen attack Delta police station in Nigeria.
Implications of chronic stress on your heart. We'll tell you why and more.
South Africa's COVID vaccine rollout set to start today.
News Central ní ẹ̀ ń wò.
You're watching Breakfast Central on a Monday with Olisa and Oluchi. Let's take you to Nigeria in Delta State, the south of Nigeria, where yet to be identified gunmen have killed 3 policemen during an attack on Nsukka Police Divisional Headquarters in Anyocha South local government area of the state. Now, though the police spokesperson would not speak on the issue or the identities of the slain policemen, sources in the community allegedly claim that they included an inspector, a sergeant and a corporal.
Now it was learnt that the building and vehicles were razed while hoodlums carted away the ammunition. Now from what we gather, the police public relations officer in the state, that is DSP Bright Edafe, has not come out to confirm the incident. However, police sources in the Ogwashoku in a neighboring community have confirmed the attack. We are now joined by the managing editor and security expert, that's Ayo Adio, on the breakfast this morning. Welcome and good morning to you, Adio.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right, then let's go straight to it. Now, what could be responsible for the continuous attacks on police stations in the northern and eastern part of Nigeria, looking at the way it's been coming up recently?
I wish I could answer that question in the affirmative, where I could tell you exactly what is responsible for this dastardly attacks on police formations that is growing in the southeast and in the southern part of the country. It is disheartening and it's heartbreaking because we have listened to this music before and we know exactly how it ends. But I could always speculate as to why some of these incidences are beginning to reoccur in the southeast. And one of them is the huge disinformation campaign that is currently ongoing in the southeastern part of the country. Every day, young southeasterners are exposed to WhatsApp messages, radio broadcasts that are spewing hate and that are delegitimizing the Nigerian state before their very eyes. This huge disinformation campaign is spurring young southeasterners into violence and into unpatriotic acts. And if we do not deal strategically with that disinformation campaign, what we're going to have in our hands is an escalation of violence that could plunge the southeastern part of the country into the ugly incidences that were witnessed in the northeast in the last decade.
Well, Adio, this is beyond the north of the country, even the south. This is in Delta State, Anyocha South, basically not far from the Delta State capital, Asaba, as it were. And you talked about disinformation. Now, the term unknown gunmen seems to, hung about the headlines weekly whenever attacks like this occur. This is an indication that our security system cannot hold anyone responsible right now, because you say unknown gunmen. Is it misinformation, disinformation, or no information at all?
It's lazy policing, very, very lazy policing, and it's embarrassing. I mean, I can understand if we cannot give a clear report on whoever had carried out an incident at the spot in which it had occurred. But after 3-4 days, after a week or two, it's incumbent on the police in that particular state to at least narrow down who or what group would have been responsible for whatever crime had been perpetrated. At the moment, we continue to excuse this incompetence and we continue to regurgitate this inexcusable narrative that some unknown gunmen are carrying out attacks on police stations across several states in the country. It's the job of the security agencies, particularly the State Security Service, to be able to unravel who are perpetrating these dastardly acts and who is behind some of these attacks that we're beginning to witness across the country. It's not good enough to continuously say that they are unknown gunmen. I think it's sad and embarrassing, to our security agencies to just sit down and admit that they are unknown gunmen. And of course, again, I think it's important for media organizations like you and I to continue to press these security formations to give accurate answers to our questions. We cannot keep publishing unknown gunmen. We can't keep reporting unknown gunmen. For God's sake, we're a country with brains. We have citizens of high intelligence, and we're being looked at across the world like people who don't know what they are doing. Don't continue to report unknown gunmen when security agencies hold press briefings and keep repeating unknown gunmen. I mean, it gives the impression that nobody is safe anywhere because you can't even identify. I mean, medical people will tell you effective diagnosis already takes you halfway to solving the problem. If you can't even diagnose the problem or accurately pinpoint where the problem is emanating from, then we seem to be in a deeper hole than we can imagine. So at the very basis, we should no longer tolerate this idea that you can simply just announce that unknown gunmen carried out an attack somewhere, and then we should all swallow that and be fine with it. It shouldn't continue.
Now, looking at it, and some people are already in that school of thought that you're talking about, and people are beginning to have a certain perception. Some perhaps might think it's strategic, looking at police stations and cutting away with ammunition. Now, this has raised so much concern. Is there something cooking, something gathering momentum, brewing that Nigerians need to be aware of, looking at the fact that for almost every police station that is being attacked, the ammunitions are always carted away while these police stations are destroyed?
I think the answer is pretty obvious. I think last week it was 2 weeks ago, where a container fell in Onitsha and you had a truckload of bullets were discovered from that truckload that turned over. Police stations are attacked, ammunitions are carted away. The morale of policemen are continuously beaten to the ground. All of these things point into one direction, and it's absolute chaos. You see, it's saddening that once something happens to you the first time, you can excuse it away, that it's an incident that was beyond your control. If it happens again, you could call it a coincidence. But when it happens the third time, then you have to be held responsible for those actions reoccurring in your lives. The same thing is happening in our country. I repeat again that we have listened to this music before. We know the dance. We know the rhythm. We know exactly where it ends. When police stations are attacked, when ammunitions are carted away, when they are labeled as unknown gunmen, when the state is unable to respond to the crime, when arrests are not made, when people are not punished, we exactly know where it ends. What is going to happen inevitably, and I hate to be a prophet of doom, is that you'll see the rise of non-state actors who are emboldened by the inability of the Nigerian state to effectively respond to crime, to begin to take and administer over territories across the country. It is already happening. There are remote villages, like I said, in Zamfara and in Katsina and in some pockets of Niger State, where you have people who are collecting levies from farmers before they can go to farmlands, where people are collecting taxes from local citizens so that they can have some semblance of security. That kind of thing is going to become widespread in the country if we do not nip this thing in the bud. All
right, Ayo, before we go, quick one. Let's echo the sentiments of many Nigerians, whether in the north, south, even Delta State, as it were, who are asking the one question: what is the way forward now?
I think the way forward is simple. You need a grand strategy. And that grand strategy is not a total reliance on military formations or aircrafts in the air or the amount of bullets or the budgets of your defense. No. While that is extremely important, that we must continue to improve the capacity of our internal security architecture to respond to crime, we must also solve the socio-economic and socio-political problem that has become the breeding ground of extremist views, of extremist positions, and the rise of non-state actors, which is poverty, which is unemployment, which is inflation, which is unfairness across the country, which is the lack of justice system. Those things need to be tackled simultaneously. Otherwise, it will be a vicious cycle and a descent into anarchy if these things are not dealt with decidedly. You have a youth unemployment of close to 40%. That is alarming. It is incredibly alarming to have that amount of young people without jobs, without an aspiration for the future. You have inflation of food hovering over 20%. That's incredibly high, eating away the purchasing power of the average Nigerian. You have poverty hitting the roof. If we do not fix these socioeconomic issues and improve the capacity of the police and the entire security architecture to respond to crime, we'll have ourselves to blame ultimately.
All right, thank you very much, Ayo Adio, once again for coming on Breakfast Central, managing editor and security expert.
Thank you, appreciate it.
All right, still Breakfast Central on News Central with Olisa and Oluchi for you. It's a Monday and more stories for you right here on the program. And let's take you to the Republic of Congo, where their president, Denis Sassou Nguesso, has chosen a new government that includes his son, as well as an opposition leader. Now, according to a statement read on public television in the country, the previous government resigned earlier this month in a procedural move after Sassou Nguesso, one of the world's longest-serving leaders, easily won a fifth term in March election when his main opposition died of COVID-19 on the polling day.
Now, the new government has 36 members, including 4 ministers and 8 women, according to the official statement being released. Now, the president's son, Denis Christel Sassou Nguesso, will head up the newly created Ministry of International Cooperation and the Public-Private Partnerships.
Now, last July, the NGO Global Witness said U.S. federal prosecutors were probing the 46-year-old over alleged embezzlement of several millions of dollars from the publicly owned National Society of Petroleum of Congo. Now, his 77-year-old father has headed the authoritarian regimes in the Central African country since 1979. With a brief hiatus early in the 1990s, and constitutional changes could also keep him in power until 2031. Wow. So,
I mean, one of the major questions that everybody is asking is why must your son be part of the newly elected people in government? Not forgetting that he was elected in the National Assembly as at the year 2012. Now, if we go from 2012 coming down to 2021, that is 9 years and counting that he has been in power. Now, are we looking at some form of, do we call it a cartel or a dynasty?
Political dynasty that is not royalty or the traditional, or monarchy, so to speak. But let's look at, some of the, stats and information that we can bring you right here when it comes to the Congolese nationality and people in power so far so good, because it's not the first time that we've seen such going on. Now, this is Denis Sassou Nguesso. He was still president of Congo, we know, born in the 1940s, president from 1979 to 1992, president of the Republic of Congo again in 1997, and he's backed by the variety of political parties, most importantly the PCT. So there you have it.
I mean, with what they said now, he's been in power for 35 years. Looking at from 1997 down to present day, that's 35 years, including when he was in power from 1979 to 1992. Combined together, that's about 35 years in counting. Now, with this new tenure that he has taken, that's 5 years, and if the constitutional amendment is approved, or if it goes according to plan, then he can still be in power till 2031.
That's really.
I mean, that's going to top the chart now. If we're looking at the chart, you know, we're looking at the chart. We have Cameroon over there. There's also topping the chart. We have Equatorial Guinea as well, who is also topping the chart. If we add this to the list, I think it will probably be among the top.
And you have a neighboring Chad, you know, after
Chad, you know, Chad was coming third at some point. But I mean, if we look at
that was by circumstance. The sun is now. Well, it looks like it would have eventually been put in there.
I'm looking at Chad and Congo. Are they now, you know, they start with CC. Could it be that there's a synonym or a connection where the father-son here?
Yeah, it's quite to look at. African leaders staying for long term, and when they're trying to hand over, perhaps bringing up their sons or family members. All right, let's go straight for the newspaper review right here on Breakfast Central. Thank you very much for watching. It's a Monday, 17th day of May 2021. Let's look at some of the morning papers for you. We're starting out in West Africa, Nigeria, with the paper, the Daily Trust, to see what they have for us on Monday. And they're starting with this one. It says, prosecuted at home. Igbo Muslims troop to north for Saka. Says more in the north at present than in the entire southeast. Marginalized in civil service, political appointments. Many practice Islam secretly. There are no discriminations according to the governments of Imo and Enugu State. So quite a worrying, story, you have to say. You know, people of southeast were traditionally Igbo people. You know, and are Muslims because tradition is different from religion. They are Igbos, they come from the southeast, but they are Muslims and they can't practice, they're being discriminated against, and now they're moving to the north to find a bit of, respite, as it were. So says the front page of the Daily Trust. Also at the bottom, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar to governors, he says, convene National Unity Summit, it says, and there you have it for some of the big stories on the front page of the Daily Trust in Nigeria. All
right, moving on to Tanzania, we have the Citizens newspaper this morning. Now looking at the Citizen, the very bold story we have there is talking about COVID. What COVID-19 pandemic really did to the economy. Now you can see 691 billion going up, and you also have 912 billion. Could that be going up in the positives or in the negatives? You have more details right here in the Citizens newspaper this morning. How agriculture, fishery will profit from the $77 million funding. More details on that in page 2 of the Citizen. And we also have the story that says court orders arrest of prominent traders. Why is this happening? More details in the Citizen's newspaper this morning.
Right then, let's go to East Africa. We're staying in East Africa, basically from Tanzania to Uganda, so it's not far. All right, so Uganda we go. Daily Monitor this morning to see what they have now. They have given us a breakdown of the official report on the November killings leak. So it says findings, investigators conclude that 42 of the 54 people killed were hit by stray bullets, while only 11 were rioters. So you can see there's a breakdown of how people were killed. 54 by straight bullet shootings, 45 were male, female were about 6, juveniles about 3, and lives lost. And also you can see 42 bullet counts there and all that, and you can see a well-armed military police there with what he's carrying on his hand. So official report on November killings leaks. Also on the front page, government to change national ID cards. Find more of that on the front page, an inside story of the Daily Monitor. And at the top, did Museveni plan to quit power in 2006? That is the big question on Panorama on the front page of the Daily Monitor. And healthy living, folic acid could save your child from neural tube defects. More on that on page 16, but teased on the front page at the top right of the Daily Monitor in Uganda.
All right, from Uganda, we'll move on to Zimbabwe, talking about the daily newspaper this morning. Looking at the daily news, Malabo ruling fallout revs up. Now we have the presidential spokesman, that's Charamba, as he poo-poos opposition. So says the paper this morning, as Charamba poo-poos opposition. Now this is a major situation that is happening right here in the paper, and it's happening also in the country as we speak. But if you want more information on this, you need to move on to the daily newspaper this morning. All
right, so there you have it for the front pages from Nigeria to Tanzania to Uganda and also to Zimbabwe. Now, away from the newspapers now, there is a major crisis brewing in the country, Zimbabwe, concerning the chief judge of the Federation and people there. So up next is Africa Report. All right, we have LALA, who is on ground to shed more light on this. How was your weekend, LALA? Good morning to you.
My weekend was great. On Saturday, the 15th of May, Judge Joe of the High Court of Zimbabwe gave a ruling that former Chief Justice Luke Malaba was no longer Chief Justice, or a judge for that matter, and that his tenure was not going to be extended since he had turned 70 years of age, according to the Constitution of Zimbabwe 2013. With me right now is Arnold Lima, who is the Secretary General for Young Lawyers Association of Zimbabwe. And mind you, the Young Lawyers Association of Zimbabwe are one of the plaintiffs that had filed a case in the High Court, challenging the extension of Chief Justice Luke Malaba's tenure. Arnold, I know that there was an interesting letter that was released by the Ministry of Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs. How do you take the letter? Because I know quite a number of people were saying that it came across more as a threat than a comment. So how did you guys accept it, or how did you receive it, since you were one of the plaintiffs?
Well, I think because of the nature of the letter, we had to take time to actually ascertain whether it was actually authentic. It appears at the moment that it is authentic. And whilst we accept that any litigant before a court is free to express how they feel about any judgment, we think that the manner that someone will express how they feel about that judgment should at least show that the courts are respected and the courts are not scandalized. And we found the statement unfortunate in a number of respects, especially given that it is one that has been made by a minister who is occupying a constitutional position, and also, as far as I understand, a registered legal practitioner who has sworn to uphold the laws of Zimbabwe. Wow.
Okay. So I know, the letter on its own, it's a 3-page letter.
Correct.
And there are certain points in that letter that have really sparked a lot of debate and discussion, mostly on social media, Twitter and Facebook and other social media platforms. There's the issue of capture that the ministry is saying they are worried about, that the judiciary has been captured. What's your comment? Especially, you as the Young Lawyers Association of Zimbabwe, you are part of the judiciary system. So how do you feel about such comments that...
Well, I found it unfortunate that, the judges would be described in such a manner by the minister, who is, by the way, the Minister of Justice. I think it's important to point out that these are, judicial officers that are essentially operating under Minister Ziyambi's own ministry. And it's quite interesting that he would say that they are captured when they are his own judges, if one could put it that way. But I also find it unfortunate because what we had in the court was a simple constitutional question. And we believe the court discharged their duty to basically interpret the conduct of the state vis-a-vis the constitution of Zimbabwe. And it would have been prudent if the minister's comments would have simply been restricted to essentially what the judges did. We do not think that this demonstrates that they've been captured. They simply did their job as they swore to do.
Arnold Bima, Secretary General of Young Lawyers Association of Zimbabwe. Over to you, Olisa and Oluchi.
All right, thank you so much, LALA. LALA from Zimbabwe, and we can see Zimbabwe is really heating up. But always stay tuned to Breakfast Central on News Central TV, where we'll be giving you all the updates from Zimbabwe. Now let's go to South Africa, Johannesburg to be precise, where Ene is looking astonishing with the hairstyle. How was your weekend, sister?
Good morning, and it's good to see you as well. Yes, my weekend was good. Thank you so much for asking. Yesterday, the health ministers Welly Mkhize, along with health MECs, briefed the nation on the details of the phase 2 of the national vaccine rollout. This briefing lasted for almost an hour. The second phase of the rollout is scheduled to start today, with most provinces ready for the over 60s, and 1.2 million are set to have been registered. 7 sites will be open today, and according to the ministers, Wali, Pfizer and the Johnson & Johnson vaccines are safe for the strain in South Africa. It was highlighted that once vaccinated, flu-like symptoms may occur but should clear after a day or two with nothing to worry about. Meanwhile, retirement home residents will be registered and vaccinated on site. Also, for now, people cannot pick and choose which vaccine they get to take. Health authorities say only those who have registered and received an SMS confirming an appointment should go to a vaccination center. The KwaZulu-Natal government says it is ready to start vaccination, even though there are worries of mixed communication, with some hearing that you can register and get vaccination on site, and others saying you have to register, get a confirmation SMS before proceeding to the designated vaccination center. So, as it is, some senior citizens are yet to register. The Gauteng Health Department says it will continue to vaccinate healthcare workers today, along with the over 60s. So while all of this is going on, one fear on the minds of many with the scheduled load shedding stage 2 that was announced and started yesterday at 5 p.m. is how will the vaccine be kept cool? In the briefing last night, it was highlighted that generators will be used till power is back on. So no worries in that area. The only worry will maybe be in traffic getting to the vaccination sites, as most traffic lights are out during load shedding.
All right, thank you so much, Ene, for the latest in South Africa regarding that health reports and about vaccination. Now, talking about health, now, to some people, cardiovascular workouts may not really count, but to others, it does. Now, but all in all, cardiovascular workouts are all common expressions referring to cardiovascular training. But what exactly is cardiovascular training, and how much of it should we be doing as individuals ourselves? Now, joining us this morning is Dr. Folashade Ali. She is a consultant cardiologist, cardiovascular researcher, and board-certified attending adult cardiologist with over 30 years of experience in a career devoted to diagnosis and treatment of heart, vascular, and thoracic diseases through early detection, education, and prevention in Nigeria. Now, welcome to Breakfast Central, Dr. Folashade. Good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine,
well,
thank you.
Well.
All right, now, some people may have never, ever heard of cardiovascular workout before now. Now, can you go ahead and break it down for us and also tell us the best way to actually approach cardio workouts, especially for beginners?
Thank you very much for inviting me to this program. Cardiac workout, or rather cardiovascular workouts, is what we call aerobic exercises. Exercises that moves all your body, that moves your joints, that moves your body up, while you are doing exercises. And it includes as good as just brisk walking, brisk walking. You walk on the exercise machine like treadmill or stationary cycle. But a very good one is just walking, just brisk walking, counting your legs, 1, 2, 3, and on, for at least not less than 30 minutes each time you want to do the exercises. It improves the cardiac muscle. It helps the muscle to pump well, the vessels to return the blood into the muscle, back into the heart, and it improves circulation generally. So any form of exercise that you do that moves your whole body system is what we call cardio exercises, aerobic exercises. It helps you to breathe better. It improves oxygenation, oxygen delivery, and oxygen exchange throughout your body muscles. So cardiac exercises or exercise that will help the heart muscles to function, to pump effectively, the vessels to supply blood freely, oxygen exchange improved, and an improvement in well-being generally.
All right, Dr. Folashade, you just told us about the different types that we could do. Some of them seem a bit simple. But is there a minimum? Is there a minimum recommended amount of cardio exercise for an individual?
Okay, for an individual, 30 minutes, on a daily basis.
What?
You can do that 30 minutes. Or
like dedicated 30 minutes, or can it be broken? Can it be broken down?
No, it can be 30 minutes every other day, like 3 times in a week.
Oh.
But not less than 30 minutes. It should not be. Anytime you want to exercise, you at least be able to do it for 30 minutes. Do it every other day, consecutive days.
All right.
So that you don't get tired.
So I know you've also spoken about some of the benefits, which is blood circulation, oxygen circulation. What other benefits, health benefits, can this cardiovascular workout help with the body?
Oh, it improves a lot of things. Muscle tone, even your joints are improved. The well-being of your joint, generally, in fact, you will sleep better. Anytime you do a good aerobic exercise, you will sleep better. And also, swimming is a very nice aerobic exercise. Swimming, if you love to swim. It improves circulation, as I've said earlier. It improves your well-being. It makes you to sleep better. And your joints are more mobile and they are friendlier, less pain from the joints because you are moving them. So all this are what the advantages, the benefits you obtain from aerobic cardiovascular exercises. That's the general improvement in well-being. And your joints are happier for you.
All right.
Pain.
Thank you very much, Dr. Folashade Ali, consultant cardiologist, right here, joining us on Breakfast Central. That's one thing for sure. I'm going to the swimming pool.
Yeah, Olisa, you really need to join me. Thank you so much. You need to join me at this point in time. I've always tried to advise you, some way, somehow, just to try and touch the water a little bit, just one step at a time.
It's time. It's the time.
We need to create time one of this weekend.
Yeah. And we can do Breakfast Central from the swimming pool.
All right, moving on. Coming up next on Breakfast Central this morning.
Right then, it's all about Africa Basketball League, and the Patriots got one over the Hoopers of Nigeria.
Limited drops lead single off upcoming album.
And interesting programs to watch on News Central much later during the day. Right then, welcome back to Breakfast Central on News Central. We've got Bernard Akede, who has the latest news on COVID-19 updates across Africa and the world. Take it away, Bernard. Good morning to you.
Good morning, guys. We're going straight into South Sudan concerning COVID-19. Now, South Sudan says the country is stuck with more than 126,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccines due to low turn-up. As only about 6,403 persons have received the COVID-19 doses since April when the vaccination started. I don't know if it's good or bad news. Now, according to the COVID-19 incident manager in the Ministry of Health in the country, his name is Richard Lako, he says only 6,403 people have been vaccinated in South Sudan. According to the ministry, the country aims to vaccinate 2.4 million people out of the total estimated population of about 12 million people. Now, Richard Lako said the ministry has decided to extend the vaccination centers to 23 across the 10 states in order to allow more people to get inoculated. South Sudan, as of yesterday, registered no new cases of COVID-19 infection, bringing the cumulative number of the confirmed cases to just about 10,653, with 115 deaths since April 6th last year, when the first case was registered as well. I think that news is good enough. At least the numbers are beginning to drop in some African countries, particularly South Sudan, as we just mentioned here now. Now, so far, Africa has reported over 4.6 million cases, over 125,000 deaths, sadly, and over 4.2 million recoveries. Now, the tests that have been carried out on the African continent is pegged at about 45.4 million persons. Remember again, COVID is still out there. Please stay safe, wear your mask, and go for inoculations in your country when possible.
All right, thank you very much, Bernard Akede, for the latest in terms of what's been going on around COVID-19 across Africa. Start for you with entertainment precisely. We've got Sam Dandy for us. Samuel, good morning to you. What's happening in the late world of entertainment?
Hi, good morning. Let's get right into it. So there's super exciting news, of course. So let me start with this one from South Africa, where LALA, right? So let me start with Nickelodeon is set to premiere a local show for African kids. Now it's going to be called Nick Music. Now sources say it's going to be a fun-filled, family-friendly music show. Now that's not all the great news, as South Africa's LALA Rakuditso has been announced as the host for the brand new show. Now which makes her the first African face for the channel. Now the locally produced show would feature music from African artists as well as, of course, across the world. Now the 18-year-old confirmed the news, saying, "I am excited to be part of the Nickelodeon African family and to be the first young African host for the channel." Now, she said, "Having grown up watching the channel myself, I know how important it is for young minds to see someone like themselves on screen." She said that authentic representation is really important, and to see myself on the channel is mind-blowing, I can imagine, for anyone. She said, "I'm extremely grateful and looking forward to interacting with viewers across Africa and to show off some of my Nick Music moves." Now, Rakuditso becomes a part of Nickelodeon's Culture Club, or Culture Squad, a team of young visionaries, creatives, and trendsetters who consistently push the culture forward. I'm super excited, and what is more interesting is that we don't have to wait much longer. The show premieres on May 17th, which is a couple of days. We're super excited for South Africa. Now, let me bring the news to Nigeria, right? Where Olamide, of course, the YBNL boss himself, he's teased his upcoming album since the 18th of last month, right? And he made, a simple Instagram post with an album cover and the caption, "UI Scotty, the album June 14th. And that's all he said. Now, in fact, we have more information. He's been dropping teasers, but over the weekend, we got the official video for the lead single titled Rock. Now, today, the video has over, in just how many days, has over 500,000 views on YouTube. Now, in my opinion, what's very impressive is, if I remember saying this a couple of weeks ago, that it's just 8 months after he released Carpe Diem, his 11th studio album, which, gave us like 12 tracks. Some of the songs on that album are still popular till now. I'm talking Loading with Bad Boy Teams, Infinity with Omale, Triumphant with Bella Schmurder. All these songs are still good. So now, although the album's dropping on the 14th, we don't know if there's going to be any features yet. All right. I'm just super excited. I can't wait for the album, of course, to drop in a few days or until next month. Well, close. So let me tell you my last story, right? So June 18th is the day to mark, right, in your calendar if you want to see Ayinla. Now, Ayinla is a biopic on the late Akbala music star called Ayinla Omorua. Now, it's super exciting because legendary Nigerian filmmaker Tunde Kelani was on the project and was also co-produced by Jade Oshiberu. Now, it's going to be a non-biological musical film based on Ayinla's life, and his unfortunate death, May in 1980. Now, what's interesting is, reports tell us that, we've seen a couple of the people who are going to be acting in it, but reports say that, he was at the point or the peak of his stardom when he died. He was 47, and, the film's going to give us, a little about his life, and more we need to know. So, what we hear is that it's been 40 years, after his death, and then, his music still lives on, especially through the film. It's going to be a musical. Now, Ayinla is also based in Abeokuta, of course, where he lived, where he worked, and where he died. So the newly released teaser, because now we get a teaser, released teaser features Adedimeji Lateef in the lead role, of course, playing the character of the singer. Then we have Kunle Afolayan, we have Omawumi Dada, we have Debo Macaroni, and we also have Bimbo Manu and a couple of other people. Adelaoye is also there. I'm super excited, because in a few we should be watching this, and it's interesting to see like a musical. I can't wait to see what that's going to feel like. Of course, I didn't know him, but it's going to be interesting for us younger generations to watch and enjoy the music of the 80s. I'm looking forward to that.
All right, Sam, we're also looking forward to it. A nice video though from Olamide. All right, thank you so much, Sam Dandy. Now, do not forget to follow us on our social media page on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, what they call it, is it Twitter or Twitter? I'm not sure which one we pronounce these days, and YouTube. And you can also watch us live on Star Times channel 274.
Now, we have also made it easy, super easy for you to join the Breakfast Central show and get celebrated on the Breakfast Show. All you have to do is find our handle at News Central TV on Instagram. Like us, follow us, slide and send a DM telling us the name of our entertainment presenter, right? We just gave him to you like about less than 30 seconds ago. We'll be calling out the names of the winner on Wednesday, right here live on Breakfast Central.
Also, what programs will be seeing today right here on News Central TV? All right, so that's it. Big thing to win this Wednesday for those who are watching.
And I'm looking forward to June 14 and June 18. And now we're talking about some of the features in the entertainment story and then looking at all that is coming up. Next month seems to be quite exciting in the entertainment space. Looking at LALA that's going to come up on June 18 and also looking at the release that's coming up June 14. I was already, doing this to the song. Check me out.
All right, so later today we've got the news at 9 a.m. Just after this program, you don't want to miss that one, so catch News Central now. Also, we've got Village Square Africa. That's at 7 p.m. You want to join Suleiman later. And at 9 p.m. tonight is News Central's, what we call the NC Continental Prime. But up next right here on Breakfast Central is sports. All right, then, time now for some sports. This weekend for me was all about basketball, watching basketball. And yes, it started the Basketball Africa League, #BAL. We saw jump ball yesterday between Nigeria's River Supers and the home side, Patriots of Rwanda. Well, Onyinye Obaro will tell us all about it as it happened for the Nigerian team. It wasn't meant to be, Onyinye, right? Good morning to you.
Good morning, Olisa. It really wasn't meant to be for the Nigerian team, but the Rwandans were able to stand the ground there, with the Patriots having to win their first game in the Basketball Africa League, and also the first game for them against the Nigerian side, the Hoopers. Now, of course, trying to make those dunks there, they were not able to seal up points, good point, against the Patriots. But they were able to seal up a big win coming from the Patriot there, like stamping the ground, having the home advantage, and trying to make a mark with their first game in the Basketball League. I would say it was not a good fixture for the Rivers Hoopers, having to play a home side. But it all ended in favor of the home side, the Patriots.
A big win for the Rwandan side. We also saw the American rapper J. Cole playing for them. All right, there'll be more matches today when it comes to the BAL, Africa Basketball League. Africans, we are all excited about this one. This is NBA-backed tournament in Africa. But let's cross over to England yesterday in the match between Liverpool and West Brom. And my word, Onyechi, what did I just hear about Liverpool goalkeeper?
What you heard really was the truth, and it will happen again and again and again. Alisson Becker coming up with a goal for Liverpool there. Now, this is the first time a goalkeeper will be scoring for Liverpool since 129 years Liverpool has ever been in existence. And also having to score with a header. It was a good one from Alisson Becker that even get into the scoring line to make a mark and put his name for Liverpool there. Liverpool having to make a statement against West Bromwich Albion. Yes, the relegated side. We should be able to do it and do it well. Alisson Becker had our day for yesterday.
So 2-1, dramatic late win for Liverpool. Their goalkeeper scoring the goal. These things happen in football. Also, Onyechi, quickly, let's run down the results of the CAF Confederations Cup as we saw them yesterday in Africa. Enyimba losing 2 goals away to Pyramids FC.
It's a fluke for Enyimba. Of course, I'm not sure that they'll be able to score 5 goals. It ended 4-1. Now, looking at the fact that from the first half, it ended 1-1. But coming up from the second half, Pyramids were able to stamp their feet, having some little errors coming in from Enyimba. But I'm not sure that they'll be able to score 5 goals to make it to the next round in the CAF Confederation Cup.
So results, Cotton Sport, Orlando Pirates and CS Vaccine. But Enyimba, 4-1 away to Pyramids of Video. Well, thank you very much, Onyechi. I'm sure you'll tell us all about that later on In the Game at 10:30 a.m. West African time. All right, well, there you have it.
Today, 17th of May is come and gone already. But of course, we'll be here again tomorrow. Stay tuned with us tomorrow from 8 a.m. West African time, where we'll be bringing news, Breakfast Central, right here on News Central TV.
All right, on behalf of the cast and crew, we say have yourselves a wonderful Monday. We'll be with you again tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.